Go ahead and start off laying all the way back, nice and comfortable. So as we're here, start to let the breath flow for you. So really inflate your lungs and even down to the belly. And establish a good relaxing exhale. Beautiful flow, beautiful cycle. And our intention today has to do with balance. So we'll be balancing different parts of our body, the left and the right halves, the upper half and the lower half. Just trying to purposely do things on one side and on the other side, and then bring it together, trying to find that balance point. So with balance being our intention, the first thing I'd like to establish is something called the box breath. And that breath is very balanced. So I imagine it like a square in my mind, or like a box. With your inhale, you're tracing up one side of the box. Then you pause for an equal length. And then your exhale, you imagine tracing in your mind's eye down the other side of the box, and then pause to create the full loop, the reconnection. And so we'll keep equal length for each of those 4 parts of the square. We'll take 4, 4, 4, and 4. So we'll start here with our inhale, nice and slow. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. A few more rounds. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. Once more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. Good. Return back to your normal natural breath for a few rounds. Just inhale and exhale. So that breath helps us to find that beautiful balance between inhale and exhale. I imagine the inhale is kind of like my upper body. The upper body for me is symbolic of the thinking, the brain, the mind. It's the hopes and dreams that we have. The exhale for me brings me into the lower body. So it's like the getting into the body itself, the physical, the visceral, the sensations that we have. And so with that balance of upper and lower already established with the breath, let's start to take the knees into the chest, and hands on each knee, do some gentle little rocking motions. Good. So I like rocking. It helps to just make sure left and right parts of the base of the hips are feeling good, feeling aligned. Beautiful. So from here, start to take your right leg extended up to the sky, left leg slides long to the ground. Asymmetry going on here. A couple of easy breaths, just getting into right hamstring area. We'll take this into figure 4, right ankle to left thigh. Set up the hug around the left. Wherever you can reach, some people hug around shin, some people hug around thigh. I'm not too picky. If you want to rock a little bit, that could feel nice. Or if you're really focusing on pulling in with some of the strength of the arms, that's great. Notice how this is one of those spots where upper and lower body are connected. We're joining together. Enjoy a few breaths right there. Beautiful. As we release, Left leg shoots back long to the ground, right leg back up to sky, grab on. I'll take a few scissor kicks before we switch sides. You can use the hands or no hands floating at the sides to increase difficulty if you'd like. But one leg lifts up as the other lowers. Nice exhale each time a leg is up. Taking 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now left leg stays up, right leg drops to floor. Grab on where you can reach on that left leg. Start to work on extension of left upward. Saying hello, hamstring. And already we might start to notice imbalance between left and right sides of the body. That's okay. We're just working toward greater balance the further we head into class today. So do what you can to try to keep this leg just as extended. Use just as much arm strength to pull in. No pressure, this is still early on in class. Two more easy breaths here. And as that second exhale starts to come to a completion, we're taking left ankle to right thigh, figure 4, set up the hug. Another huge inhale and exhale. Good, so as we release, we're taking that plus scissor kicks again. So left leg is back up to sky, right leg drops down. Pause here for just a moment to feel the flexibility aspect. Another good inhale. And with the exhale, right leg is floating off the ground if it's not already, and we start our switches. Using hands or not, your preference. Here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Allow the knees to bend, feet plant right close to the glutes. Hands are on the floor by the hips. And here we'll take a few bridge poses. So with your inhales, you'll simply lift the hips up, rising vertebrae up one at a time. Exhale, you return your hips back down. So a few rounds like that. Up to this point, we've mostly been focusing on the lower body. So here we're going to take a moment to transition a little bit higher into the upper body. This bridge pose is our transition pose, incorporating more of the back. So take another 3, 2, 1. Resting the hips down. We're taking a hold of each of the elbows in front of our chest, and then take a moment to let the elbows rise up overhead. You'll feel how the abdominal muscles stretch, and we get a little bit of the shoulder stretching as well. If the low back is arching off the ground, let that happen for this stretch. Allows that back to be nice and open. Good, so now keeping a hold of both elbows, start to tilt both elbows all the way over to the right. You'll notice that you have to readjust things until you actually feel the shoulder stretch. In this case, it should be your left shoulder in the stretch. So one way you could adjust is pushing that left shoulder away from the ear, so further down. And then the other thing you can do is adjust the exact angle that the elbows are pointed at. So feel free to take a moment adjusting until you feel a nice left shoulder stretch. A couple of easy breaths there as we're in this upper body half. And one more next inhale. Exhale. Both elbows trace their way back through the center up overhead. Feel the center being a place of alignment, a place of reintegration, both connecting together equally. And then we'll start to inch both elbows over to the left to stretch right shoulder. So again, it might be useful to push that right shoulder away from ear and then change the angle of the elbows until you feel just right. The stretch is perfect. Gripping onto the elbows like this, it's almost like when you yoke different animals together. Sometimes you yoke oxen or horses together. And they need to pull equally. If one horse is doing a lot more of the work, then it brings the whole cart out of balance. So here's the elbows come right back overhead one more time. Allow both shoulders to be equally balanced, equally yoked. And take another beautiful breath all the way into belly space. Nice exhale. As the elbows release, we're going to take knees up over our body. The hands on the floor or even thumbs tucked slightly under hips. Just a quick lower body moment with leaving the legs locked at this 90-degree angle. We allow the legs to lower down, maybe toes tap the ground, and then lift right back up. So note that you do want that low back to be in contact with the ground the whole time this one. Otherwise that could aggravate the low back. So if low back wants to lift, don't go quite as far down. Just another 5, and up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, arms spread open, left and right, the knees follow all the way over to left. So there will be moments in today's class as we're working on balance where we take a moment to do a twist. For me, as we're going back and forth between upper body, lower body, back and forth, or even left, right, it's almost like an hourglass. Like the upper body is the top half of the hourglass, the lower body is the bottom half, and then we flip it upside down so that the focus is inverted, and then we flip it back around. But in moments with twisting like this, it's like the focus is all on that center point right in the middle of the hourglass. And I imagine if you were to tip the hourglass on its side rather than up and down, that centerpiece is almost like a void. It's almost like the beautiful center of where we're not in our mind, we're not even in our body, we're just in this timeless, beautiful meditative state. And that's a nice place where a lot of focus on meditation and breathing takes us into. So go ahead and lift up the knees as we tilt over to the second side for a little while. Just focus on your breath for a moment. See if you can get into that kind of quiet within. Just one more good breath. Huge inhale. Nice exhale. The knees lift back up. We're rolling like a ball a few times, giving a nice little massage to the back and the spine. So maybe 3 or 4. Eventually, when we're ready to be up, we'll settle into cobbler's pose, bottoms of feet together, knees opening. It's like we've picked the hourglass back up and we're letting it all drain down to this lower half of the body. So feel free to tilt forward to a degree that feels helpful. If there's tension in the neck, you can always take that moment to roll it out. And sometimes after a few breaths like this, I want to go just a little deeper. So we do that by lengthening from the very low back and then tilting forward any amount, maybe just an inch deeper before you relax the weight of the spine back down. Two more breaths here. And then walking the hands in, stacking the spine gently back up. Good. Moving back into the upper body. If this is comfortable to sit like this, we'll stay. Otherwise, cross the legs for a moment, making it super easy to sit. And then we're taking right elbow under left, join the palms if you can. We'll take a moment to be with this upper body stretching. So I'll offer options, but if you prefer to just kind of freeform instead, that's fine. We'll transition through several things. So first we round the spine back and then jut the elbows forward for a moment. So how that gets us kind of to that spot in between shoulder blades. And then straightening the vertebrae back up, take a twisting action. So twisting a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, once more left, right. As we're back forward, the shoulders press down, the elbows lift up a little bit. And then we roll the head briefly. So right ear drops to right shoulder. Start to roll chin down to chest. Left ear works its way to left shoulder. And then roll all the way slowly back to right. Good. When you get there, release the hands, circle up to sky, inhale. Hands touch together, trace down the midline, exhale. Good. Left elbow under, winding the best you can. Same options if you want to take them, rounding the spine back, push the elbows forward. And lengthening the spine up. Twist to the right, left, right, left, back forward, the elbows lift, shoulders press down, the left ear rolls to the left shoulder, and rock your way chin to chest, head all the way to the right. And then slowly roll your way back until left ear is over left shoulder. Beautiful. And releasing arms, circle up to sky, inhale. Trace down the center, exhale. Good. Flipping the hourglass again. Let the left foot stay tucked in, right leg opens. Asymmetry here. We'll start by sinking forward. And if you have preferences to kind of sway over toward that straight leg or just transition, eventually they'll stretch to the straight leg, that's fine. A little bit of time. Just play with what feels most helpful for that right leg, bringing that leg into nice balance. And we'll start to rise up, switching the legs out. Working on second half. Again, you can have movement, you can have stillness. You may start directly forward, but if at any point you want to switch toward that left leg, that's fine. Good. So starting to work our way back up. Let's head to hands and knees. Take about 5 exaggerated rounds of cat-cow. We'll push the vertebrae up as high as possible. And then belly starts to drop down, gaze up. Another 4 rounds, nice and slow like that. 3. 2. And 1. Beautiful. Spine back to neutral. Right arm reaches up to sky. Maybe a nice wrist roll. Clock and counterclockwise. And then thread that right shoulder all the way to ground. A nice twisting action. Also, it's almost like we've literally flipped the hourglass over. If this left hand wants to walk up to top of mat or come around low back, those are beautiful options. Take them if you wish. Left hand plants in front of face, press into it. Right here in the center, take a nice cat, cow, neutral spine, left hand reaches up, wrist roll, clock, counter clock, and thread that shoulder all the way through. Same options with right hand, but maybe it stretches forward, maybe it comes around low back. And one more breath, nice inhale. Exhale, right hand plant in front of face, press into it to rise. A cat, cow, neutral spine, puppy pose. Hands walk forward, both arms are equally stretching, equally balanced. Maybe forehead is down, or maybe you're flipping the chin down. Using the friction of hands on the floor, start to walk the hands backwards, setting directly into child pose. Nice inhale. Exhale, let's start to rise up to downward facing dog. Give the body some movements that feel helpful. Shooting back into the sensation in the lower half of the body, the calves, the hips, the hamstrings. Give it 2 more deep breaths. Then we start to travel our way up toward top of mat. Nice forward fold. Use the next inhale to rise. Circle the arms up to sky, slight back bend. Hands down to heart. Big toes come to touch. Set the hips back, fierce pose. Knees are not going forward of toes. From here, we hook the right elbow to the left knee. The hands in that prayer position, push down. So we should be facing back door, so away from where the entrance is. I can switch. Yeah, there we go. Gaze at the floor. I usually gaze a couple of inches in front of my left foot. Transition your weight into left foot. And then when you feel like that right foot could slide its way toward back of mat, let that slide happen. Good. Reset the twist in the spine, nice and easy. Nice inhale. Exhale, unwind the torso, drop the back heel down, warrior one. Good. Inhale. Exhale, clasp hands behind the back, bow forward, shoulder stretch. Release the hands to touch the floor. And then 5 times this front leg is going to straighten as much as it can. And then return back to that deep bench shape. So returning another 4. And bend. 3. 2. This last one, leave it straight just a little bit longer. Inhale. Exhale, the knee takes that deeply bent shape. Circle arms back up to sky, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. So this left hand, you could take a nice, easy extended side angle, left elbow resting. If you'd like to try to aim for the bind, perhaps left hand is on floor instead. Right arm extending forward for a moment. And then anybody who wants to take the bind, left arm hugs under that left leg. Right hand comes behind your back and try to connect the dots. Keep that front knee deeply bent, lots of strength going on there. Top shoulder rotating open. Good. One more inhale. Exhale, release. Circle the arms open, warrior two. From the toes to the long edge of the mat. And then hands at the hips, dive forward, a nice forward fold. So here, plant the hands onto the floor. Start to walk the hands to the top of the mat. Turn those left toes forward. Hop up onto the back toes. And this left can work its way further to the left. So it's a lizard pose shape. You're welcome to stay up high for leg strength. You're welcome to drop the back knee and lower the elbows if you're working more on the flexibility version. Whatever feels best for a moment. Good. So both hands plant if they're not there already. As that left foot slides back, we're in plank. You can choose here to take a flow. You can take down dog, or you can just drop to child pose if you wish. The flow is lowering chaturanga. A nice back bend, Sphinx or cobra. And downward facing dog. Gazing forward in between hands, we're traveling up to top of mat, step walk or jump. Relax the spine heavy. Next inhale to rise. Hands down to heart. Big toes close, heels slightly separated. Set the hips back. This time we're looking left elbow. Just toward front or side. Feel the shoulders broad. The top hand pushes down, and that allows the shoulders to try to rotate toward that front door. Good. Gazing at the floor, just a couple of inches in front of right foot. Shift your weight into right foot. And the left foot feels free to slide back. Let it take that lunge. And then reset the twist. It's a funky transition, so it's okay if the balance is a little off. Good. Back heel drops down as we release the twist. Circle arms to sky warrior one. Feel that elongation, that reach up high. And hands clasped behind back. Bow forward. Shoulder stretch. As we release the hands, fingertips are on floor. We try to straighten that front leg as much as we can. And let it bend. Repeating another 4. And bend. 3. 2. This last one, stay long, just a bit longer. One more nice inhale. Exhale, bend knee. Arm circle up to sky, warrior one. Nice inhale. Exhale, open up, warrior two. So perhaps extended side angle, right elbow resting on thigh. Maybe right hand is working its way to the floor. The other arm extends forward for a moment. And then anybody who wants to play with the bind, maybe you hug that right arm under the thigh. Left hand comes behind the back to try to connect the dots. Shoulder tries to rotate back open. Yep, just like that, folding up. The strength of the legs holding us here. Another nice inhale. Exhale, release the bind if you haven't. Cartwheel the hands open to warrior two. Good, turn the toes to long edge of mat, hands to hips. Wide angle forward fold, dive down. Maybe there's a new arm position that wants to be expressed this time, maybe not. Planting the hands on the floor, start to walk the hands back up to top of mat, turn those right toes forward and right foot works its way to the right edge. With the bent knee, we're in lizard. Back knee can stay lifted or lowered. You can stay on wrists or drop to elbows. No pressure either way, it's whatever feels helpful and good for our body and our goals right now. One more good inhale. Exhale, we're up on hands. If we're not there already, front foot slides back. Child pose, down dog, or a flow. Right leg reaches high up to the sky. Bend the knees and the toes behind you so the front of the hip gets to open just a little bit. Nice inhale. Exhale, leg straightens back out as we square the hips. And then swing that right foot to plant in between our hands. Back heel drops down, arms sweep up to sky, warrior one. Nice inhale. Exhale, open warrior two. So here we're gonna play with triangle pose for a moment. Straighten the front leg, right hand reaches forward, right hand drops to shin, left hand up to sky. So this will be version one. Just enjoying normal triangle pose, the arms open and extended like this. If you'd like to try version two, we're going to go back to the bind that we set up earlier and then play with trying to straighten the leg a bit from the bind. So if you're trying version two, come back to warrior two, drop the right hand down, set up the bind, and then play with the front leg straightened. It might be kind of a pulse like we did earlier, maybe 5 pulses or so. Remember to try to rotate the top shoulder back to stack. Good. Beautiful. One more inhale wherever we are. Nice exhale. Bending the front knee, cartwheel the hands open, warrior two. Plant the hands down to the inside of the front foot, hop up onto the back toes. And from here, we'll have a moment to play with Kundalini. Right hand comes to the outside of the right foot. Just staying here with the back knee lifted is really powerful. You could try to swivel the left hand in under the hip, just resting onto it and trying to find the balance. Extending both legs open. So your choice if you want to play with it, you do not have to. Beautiful, that's okay. Good work, good work. So when you're ready to come out, hands are planting, slide this foot back, just downward facing dog. Left leg starts to float up to sky. Bend the knees and the toes slightly behind you. And start to square the hips as the leg straightens for a brief moment. And then a good step, left foot in between hands. Back heel down. Warrior one. And into warrior two. Good work. We're almost through the hard stuff. You guys are doing awesome. So trying just normal triangle. Front leg straightens. Reach the left hand forward. Drop left hand to shin, right hand to sky. Staying here is perfectly fine. If you want to try version two, the front knee bends. Transition through the bind with the bent knee. And then start to play with maybe the leg straightening, but focus on that top shoulder rolling back. Good. Nice inhale. Exhale, front knee bends. Cartwheel the hands open, warrior two. And cartwheel down, hands plant to the inside of the front foot, hop up onto the back toes. So version one is the left hand just trying to work its way to the outside of the left foot. The shoulder, I try to get it as close as I can under that knee space. So just holding here is version one. That's really strong and powerful. If you're trying for the balance, swivel the right elbow in and then start to extend the front toes forward. Maybe you take off. When you've had a chance to play, slide back, your choice. Child pose, down dog, or a flow. Nothing wrong with just resting here. We're heading toward the end of class. So we'll transition into a Malasana pose toward the back of the mat. So wherever you're at, the feet are planted about as wide as the mat. The knees are bent. We're in this low squat. Elbows are pushing into the knees. Spine's trying to lengthen. And I'm trying to get feet flat to floor. So sometimes I have to kind of play with how wide my stance is. You got it. Looks great. So the spine is still lengthening. Feel the breath slowing. Hands lower to floor, legs straighten, turn the toes forward. Nice, easy forward fold. Now toe the feet together, so big toes close, heels slightly separated. Relax the spine in that shape. And then we're gonna head to a toe squat balance. So keep the inner thigh squeezing together. The glutes drop down to the heels, so the heels need to lift off the ground. And then we try to see if maybe one hand can come up to heart. Sometimes the second one can come to heart. Inner thigh squeeze together, that helps us balance here. Beautiful. So we'll try to take a twist. Both hands try to come to the floor on the right side. Just fingers on floor is perfectly fine. Anybody who wants to play with the twisted crow, you're welcome to tilt over, trying to fly. So up to you. But just holding the twist is also beautiful. Let's take one more breath on this half. And then landing the toes, see if you can find that balance point right in the middle. Sometimes it takes a moment to have your fingers still there until you feel confident. Squeezing through the center. Good, hands plant to left. Just taking the twist is fine. If you want to head to the twisted crow, go right ahead. Beautiful work. Landing, come back to balance one more time. And then as hands plant, we're going to scoot our mats to touch the wall for a moment. We're going to use the wall to help us stretch the hamstrings one more time. So you'll hop off, scoot yourself close to the wall. And then you're taking a downward facing dog with the heels close to baseboard. Good, so right leg bends and then you kick it up, catching the right foot up on the wall, nice and high.
So splits against the wall?
Splits against the wall, yep. Good. If one of the knees has to bend, try to make it not be the bottom knee. So the top one can be bent, the bottom one tries to lengthen. Good. If you wanted to walk your hands closer to the wall, that pushes you deeper in the splits. If you wanted to make it easier, yep, go further away from the wall. Nothing wrong with that. Sounds pretty intense. I'll let you choose when you're happy with this point. You'll take a child pose and just rest for a moment. We'll all group together before we switch sides. So just child pose, rest when you're satisfied. Let your wrists roll out even. No tension there. Okay, if you're ready for second side, take the downward facing dog. Left leg kicks up, catch the toes high on the wall. Again, try to let at least the bottom leg, the one that's touching the floor, try to let that one at least be straight. And if you wanted to walk your hands closer, that's fine. A little further from the wall makes it easier, so your preference. And then the same thing as before, try to pause about equal length until eventually you're ready for that child pose. knees open out just a little bit. They're about as wide as mat. Leave the left hand forward and the right arm threads under that left armpit space, setting up into a nice shoulder stretch. We'll switch out our arms. Right goes forward, left threads through. Good, unwind. We're coming to a seated place for a moment. Clasp your hands together and rest the base of the palms to touch. They're glued together. And then trace the infinity sign. Just helping those wrists have a chance to wiggle out after having the pressure of our body weight into it. Beautiful. So now releasing the palms, flip the palms, or releasing, the base of the palms from that glued position. Flip them around. Circle up overhead. Come back right in front of you. And then the right hand pulls backwards, so the left wrist is in a deeper stretch. And switch. Good. Flip the palms to be faced toward you, and then pull the left hand in, so right back of wrist is in a stretch. And switch. And release, both hands circle out for a moment. Good. So this is an optional moment for anybody who wants to take shoulder stand and or plow. You're welcome to do that. If that's not what's sounding good to you, instead, you'll just come onto the floor, practice a couple of bridge poses, maybe hands clasped behind, and then just enjoy some twisting time. So those that are going into that shoulder stand or plow, just make sure you have plenty of space at the back of that. So you might need to scoot your way a little closer to mirror. A lot of people go into plow by rolling. You roll and then capture your hips. And then from there, you can straighten upward. You got it. Good work. You can use the wall as much as you need. And this last couple of minutes here will be a little bit of free time. So do it at your own pace. If this feels amazing, stay. If you want one foot at a time to take a moment stretching down to the ground, great. If you want both legs to go to plow, great. If you just want to come out at any point and just take some stretches on your back, that's fine. It's your next couple of minutes just to listen to your body, find a beautiful type of freedom. So like I mentioned, there's no sense of rush. Keep on enjoying this as long as your body is is enjoying it. As long as this is helping you come to a great amount of balance, at any point sooner or later, when you're satisfied with all these stretches, with all the time that we've had, we'll eventually find ourselves in a comfortable Shavasana, just enjoying ourselves laying back, or any other version of Shavasana that might feel amazing today. So no rush to be in Shavasana. It's just when we feel like everything left and right, up and upper and lower, everything's in a good amount of balance. And then kind of like the hourglass shape, that toroidal field, imagine that point right at the center. It's like the infinity moment. One part of infinity, the literal symbol that we have for infinity, one part of it can represent the future, one part can represent the past. But that point that joins it right in the middle, that's like the infinity point. It's like a void. Maybe you imagine it like a big black hole that's just so spacious, or maybe you imagine it like a timeless place. However you imagine, try to see if you can get your mental quality into that point right in the middle. Just enjoying the beautiful meditative state that we get into when we release time and space. Just getting to enjoy the everlasting present moment. So we're here for a few more minutes here. If you'd like to take that box breath to kind of help you get into that void, go right ahead. Otherwise, just simple breathing for the next few minutes, relaxing into that balance. Here we begin to deepen our inhales, our exhales. Introducing little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out in ways that feel really good. Sometimes it feels good to take a fetal position off to one side. If you'd like to, you're absolutely welcome. Maybe 2 or 3 more breaths until you feel comfortable or ready to rise. Easy seated place. And here with the hands together in front of the heart, symbolizes that perfect balance between left and right sides, between the upper and the lower. Everything here in great balance, and that balance having tremendous meaning, especially that beautiful point at the center where infinite possibilities lie, where timelessness and spacelessness lead us toward the most powerful type of meditation. And so with this type of balance to help lead us forward, let's wrap up the time we shared together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.